Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Siddhartha Sanchez. I'm the Executive Director of the Bronx River Alliance. Right before Thanksgiving, Governor Hochul and the State Department of Transportation released the environmental assessment for the Cross Bronx 5 Bridges project, leaving working families with only 31 weekdays for public comment period. The assessment spans nearly 6,000 pages of highly technical material and comes right in the middle of the holiday season that our families have waited all year for. As we all know, families are still recovering from Thanksgiving and are gearing up for several more holidays, including Hanukkah, Christmas, and New Year's. This rushed review timeline simply doesn't allow enough time for Bronx families to help shape this once-in-a-generation project. We want standard bridge repairs that move us toward better air and water quality, but the state's remaining plans still miss the mark. We are gathered here today because we want to make sure that we have enough time to properly engage community around input for this process, for the environmental assessment. And the current proposals bring substantial environmental impacts to our communities, both short-term through construction and for the next 80 years through the existence of this highway. We want to acknowledge that Governor Hochul and Commissioner Dominguez have made strides to collaborate with our communities, including translation and virtual hearings, but we are really pushing for 90 days of public comment, of a public comment period, better timed public meetings, and fresh new plans that reduce traffic and pollution, not just the proposed existing plans. The Bronx remains ready to work with the state and partners across the city to lay the foundation for a more equitable Cross Bronx repair project. Now I'd like to introduce you to some of our coalition members that are standing with us here today. First up, I want to bring up a community resident, Yesenia Fuentes.
Hello, I'm braving the cold today because I don't want a wider Cross Bronx Express. I want clean air and better water quality. Should I repeat that?
If you just hold it, sorry.
So repeat the whole thing.
You're good, you could keep
All
going.
right. So yeah, we're braving the cold here today because I don't want a wider Cross Bronx. I want clean air and clean water for my community, and that's why I'm here. That's it.
Thank you, Yesenia. Next up, I want to bring up Rafael Morapune, District Manager for Community Board 6.
Yes! Woo! Hello. So the community board is made up of residents of the neighborhood that volunteer their time to advocate for the community. I have had the privilege of working as their manager, and I now have the tall order of asking these community residents who are already dedicating a lot of their time to serve the community to process a 6,000-page environmental assessment during Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Initially, the board raised the concern that this environmental assessment was going to be released in July and that we wouldn't be in session, and the state agreed to delay it. So rescheduling it for Thanksgiving and the holidays seems like an odd choice. We also, I think, are concerned about just what is being proposed here. I mean, the state is taking $50 million in federal money and proposing to build a walkway along the Cross Bronx Expressway 80 feet in the air. We're not really sure that that's the best use of federal funds to connect communities on the other side of the Bronx River, and this is something that we think is a missed mark in the current proposal, and the short timeline that we are being offered limits our ability to advocate for better solutions. So we want to thank the state for hearing us so far, but encourage Bronx residents to participate in this process and reach out to the board and reach out to the Bronx River Alliance if you want to better understand what is being proposed, but also ask the state to consider extending the timeline and the scope of what they're looking at to actually create a better solution for Bronx residents that want to get connected on either side of the Bronx River. Thank you. I'm going to pass it to Anna Berlanga, who is the Uptown and Bronx organizer for Transportation Alternatives. Woo!
Hello, my name is Anna Berlanga and I'm the Bronx and Uptown organizer for Transportation Alternatives. I also have the pleasure of living about 3 blocks from the project area. What we're here today to do is we're here to ask the state, Governor Hochul, and the New York State Department of Transportation to extend the comment period for this massive project that will impact the community, my community, for 100 years at least in the future.
Get over it!
I am the person that is supposed to be at these public hearings, that's supposed to be reading the 6,000-page document, supposed to understand, and supposed to comment, living 3 blocks from the project area. In the past 10 days, I've had to shop and cook for Thanksgiving. I've had to figure out a budget that is not budgeting for me. I've had to set up appointments for my 89-year-old aunt and take her to an oncologist for a new diagnosis of cancer. I've had to work, I've had to clean, I've had to do all this, and as a highly motivated person, I've only been able to read 1 page of the 5,667 other pages that are there for us to read, understand, digest, and comment on. So we're just asking for a little bit more time. 90 days, a 90-day comment period, the ability to read and digest these documents, the appendices, and all of that, so that we could really continue the good faith that is coming from New York State Department of Transportation and Governor Hochul into the new year.
Good, great.
Thank you. Reese Brosco from Youth Ministries for Peace and Justice.
Hello, my name is Reese Brosco with Youth Ministries for Peace and Justice, a local community-based organization here in the Bronx River neighborhood. We are a neighborhood that has been plagued with the negative environmental outcomes of 20th century urban planning, including the construction of the Cross Bronx. And we've also been at the front lines of community-led solutions to improve our neighborhoods and our environment. We need the time to review this environmental assessment, respond accordingly, so that we can help shape the future of our neighborhoods and our borough overall. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, tonight is a significant opportunity to let the New York State Department of Transportation, along with the Governor Kathy Hochul, know that the community is not in support of the current plans that have been put in front of us, and we want the Governor and New York State DOT to come back with a fresh new alternative for the Cross Bronx Expressway expansion plan.
What would some of those alternatives look like?
Those alternatives definitely doesn't look like an expansion of a highway. You know, we're totally against any expansion. We think there needs to be further environmental impact studies that are conducted to further understand the impacts of any of the alternatives that are put forward. We don't think that the state has listened or have heard the concerns of the community as much as we think that they should, and we think that they need to pump the brakes and slow down.
So as you're speaking to an outsider, someone who hasn't paid attention to this project and what is going on with the Cross Bronx, what would you tell them to get them engaged in this and make their voices heard when it comes to the project going on?
Well, if you want to get engaged or have ever experienced anything negative with the Cross Bronx, whether it be the poor air conditioning that come out of the highway or the parking lot that you see outside of your window, we ask for you to come out, testify. There will be several opportunities to give testimony via virtually through other public hearings. You could contact the Bronx River Alliance as well too if you want to get involved, and now is the time.
Anything else you want to share?
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was